Greek statues were not white. They were brilliantly painted in bright colors and patterns. When Efekizipse just asked, why do the reconstructions, though, look like hot garbage? The reason for this is that they are being painted by archaeologists, not by folk artists or even professional restoration artists. The first time I saw these, I actually thought they were being computer generated. They're actually created by this guy, an archaeologist named Vincent Brinkman, and painted by his wife, Ulrike Koch-Brinkman. While historically, ancient statues have been recreated using casting, a method directly applying to the statue, these were recreated using 3D laser scanning. This might not seem like a big difference, but this is where tons of small details and imperfections are lost. Matt Stormcrow brought up a really great point, which is that Western academia is not used to seeing brightly colored folk art. He used an excellent example, which is Alebrije statues. Look closely though, and you'll see teeny tiny imperfections. This is what gives art feeling and soul. Another great example are the tiny imperfections in this beautiful Döda horse from Sweden. There's a Japanese concept for this called fukinsei, meaning imperfection. This is the practice of enso, calligraphy of a circle. The imperfections are critically important. Imagine if it was just a plain perfect circle. That wouldn't have any of the same artistic value. Soul music is much the same way. When Al Green stays on the note for a little too long, or when Amy Winehouse's voice cracks, that is when feeling is injected into the music. These do end up looking like flat, paint-by-numbers, Play-Doh pieces. And no, these are not the original pigments, they're using modern pigments. The way these are being reconstructed relies far too much on modern technology and 3D imaging. But because these are not being done by professional art restoration experts, they're just a bad restoration job. Here's a famously bad restoration job of St. George, and here's another one of a late 15th century statue. Do you see the similarities? However, while the restoration and artwork is not great, the academic work is critical. Brinkman describes that the work to restore colors to Greek statues hasn't been done for over 100 years. And the process they do it with is really cool. After shining UV light onto these sculptures, all these beautiful patterns appeared. Imagine that all of these sculptures were covered in patterns that look like this. And here's the final piece. This shocked both the Brinkmans and all of the people that looked at the exhibits these statues were shown in. In fact, Brinkman describes like what is an existential crisis. He had to grapple with the fact that these were all brightly colored statues. He also said that a big part of his work is provoking academia. It was the Victorians who were scrubbing the paint off of these statues to keep them white. But more on that later. As always, like and subscribe for more anti-authoritarian folk art history. You can also follow me on Instagram and YouTube. And support the work on Patreon. I'll see you next time.